I swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give to this inquiry shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You're welcome.
So before I start the examination in chief, Mr. Hussain and I had a conversation about relevance and the ambit of the terms of reference. Mr. Hussain has suggested that he will provide written submissions about the ambit of the inquiry in relation particularly to the witness statement that we've had this morning, which I think would be very helpful. And I suggest that that could be circulated to other parties for their submissions. And I, with your assistance, sir, will draft a timetable for that to be done well in advance of the next session. So I'm grateful to Mr. Hussain for his suggestion about that.
What I just would say about that is that I appreciate that the course of events after it emerged that CLICO was in severe difficulties moves from the investigative process directed to what structurally was amiss to the investigative process directed to what was done to cure the problem, or at least what steps were taken to deal with a very pressing and immediate difficulty, or series of difficulties. The Commission will move with some caution to ensure that it doesn't sail into waters which are exclusively political. This is a matter which has to be dealt with some care, because a commission of inquiry such as this can't wholly avoid investigation of conduct by central government, obviously, and by central government agencies. Hence, the Ministry of Finance is a party to these proceedings. But the further away one gets from the events which occurred, the greater the care that has to be taken to avoid proceeding along paths which are intrinsically political, as distinct from analytical, with regard to what has gone wrong and what has been done to put them right. And everybody can be very relaxed in the understanding that I've got that very much in mind.
Thank you, sir. That'll help us enormously to focus our submissions on the appropriate issues. Mr. Permell, your full names, please.
Peter Permell.
And you have in front of you, I think, a copy of your witness statement.
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you just confirm that the address that's there written is your address?
Yes, it's correct, sir.
And can you tell us what your occupation is, please, Mr. Permell?
I'm a financial consultant.
And were you, or are you, the holder of one of the policies from CLICO?
Yes, sir, I am.
What kind of policy?
It's an executive flexible premium annuity, better known as the EFPA policy.
Now, I think, Mr. Permell, you're well known to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago through your various media appearances, but you will recognise that you are not so well known to the Commissioner or to myself. So can you just explain, please, what your position is in the CLICO policyholders group?
Okay, I am the chairman of the CLICO policyholders group and the spokesperson for the group.
Does the CLICO policyholders group have a constitution or some kind of association rules?
The CLICO policyholders group has not exactly formalized itself in terms of a constitution. What you have is a coming together of people with common interests with respect to the fact that they haven't been able to get their money back from CLICO. There's another organization which we have formed, which is known as the EFPA Policyholders Group, which is an incorporated under the Companies Act as a non-profit organization. But the reason for that is that has a specific purpose, and that is for the purpose of pursuing litigation with respect to the CLICO matter. Because you would appreciate, sir, that as an unincorporated body, we don't have a legal personality per se in terms of the CLICO policyholders group, and we needed to form ourselves, incorporate ourselves so that we could take litigation and so on.
But, and your position is therefore in both the unincorporated and the incorporated body?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And the unincorporated body, how is it governed?
Well, it's governed from the point of view of, as I said, we have a common interest, and we meet from time to deal with specific developments related to whether or not people are likely to get their money back. And the information is communicated either via email, because we have a list of our policyholders who would have associated themselves with the CLICO policyholders group via our meetings and so on. And we also communicate via the media, which is the most effective means, because some of our policyholders, as you would appreciate, they don't have email addresses and that kind of thing. So it makes life a lot easier in terms of communicating with the policyholders.
You've used the first person plural, we, throughout that answer.
Sure.
Who is we?
We are the what I would call the leadership team of the CLICO policyholders group. And those persons, they have not given me permission to necessarily disclose their names, but I don't know, if you wish, I can probably share some of that with you.
Well, are you prepared to provide the names to the Commission?
Absolutely, that's not a problem, sir.
How many are there?
We are about, let's say about seven members of the leadership team.
Are all the members of the CLICO policyholders group policyholders of CLICO?
No, sir. They are policyholders who are members of British American and the CLICO. So even though we call ourselves the CLICO policyholders group, we effectively represent British American, which, as you know, is a subsidiary of CLICO, so that we represent both British American, Trinidad, I want to stress Trinidad, and the CLICO policyholders, Trinidad.
Is it confined, therefore, to the policyholders within those two entities and doesn't extend to depositors within the CLICO Investment Bank?
No, it doesn't extend to the CLICO Investment Bank.
You've told us that you have a list of members of the group.
Yes, sir.
How many members do you have?
We have, with respect to the group, you're probably looking at, we'd be close to, I would say, about 3,000 members.
3,000. And what percentage does that represent of the total number of CLICO and BAT policyholders?
That would be, that would be about 1/5.
1/5, 20%.
Yeah.
In your list of members, sorry, forgive me.
What percentage?
20%, 1/5.
10%.
Is my maths right?
Yeah, yes, so it should be about that, yes.
I have to ask.
Yes.
In your list of members, do you divide them into categories by the nature of the policy that they hold?
Not at this stage. Our doors are open to all policyholders, and we have not sought to categorize the policyholders, because as far as we are concerned, all persons with CLICO policies are in fact bona fide policyholders. And the reason why I say that, in the discourse with respect to the CLICO matter, there has been an attempt to categorize certain policyholders as depositors. And I think it's important for us to make a distinction that we are not, none of the CLICO members, or the members of our group are depositors. They are all policyholders.
Do you as a group, in addition to having a list of the names of your members, have your members provided you with documentation about their policies?
Yes, in some instances they have, and in other instances they have not. At the end of the day, at this particular stage, we have told them that there's no need for them to provide us with the documentation, because you would appreciate how voluminous that kind of documentation would be. However, we have indicated to them at the appropriate time they would have to bring copies of the policies that they hold, specifically for the purpose of the litigation. As I said, our group has been formed specifically to take litigation in the CLICO matter. So at the appropriate time, when at the level of the courts, we would of course need to get that kind of documentation.
Have any of your members provided you with a narrative, for example, by way of letter, of their experience as policyholders of CLICO or BAT?
Yes, we have had a couple emails from, well, I shouldn't say a couple. We have had a fair amount of emails, phone calls, that kind of communication from our policyholders with respect to some of the experiences that they have had relative to this CLICO matter, yes.
And in the case where there's been a phone call, have you or other members of your group, is a memo been made of the contents of that telephone call?
No, we have not been. Again, the resources of the CLICO policyholders group are considerably strained and taxed because we don't have the manpower to necessarily document or transcribe those kinds of conversations. So that and from time to time, most of the time they call me because as the leader of the group, and it's not convenient for me to be taking notes as I go along. I try to keep the information in my head, and sometimes I prefer probably not to keep it because it could be burdensome when you listen to some of the stories that they are telling.
Now, the list of members of your group, policyholders, I think it's right, isn't it, that you have not provided that list to the Commission?
Yes, we have not provided, nor have we been asked to provide it. And I would also say that a lot of the policyholders have told us that they are very concerned with respect to the confidentiality of their information, because you would appreciate that we are talking about predominantly policyholders with $75,000 and over. Those are comprise the majority of our policyholders. So we have respected that confidentiality to date.
Are you prepared to provide that list to the Commission?
I would want to first get the permission of the policyholders to do that, but assuming that they have no difficulty, I don't have any difficulty with providing that list.
Mr. Permell, as a party to this inquiry, you will no doubt be aware that there is a confidentiality protocol that applies to all documents that are provided by any person.
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that.
And you could have provided the list of names as a material document within your possession, but subject to confidentiality.
Yes, I'm aware of that, yes.
And I think it's right, isn't it, that you were asked by the Commission to provide some names in order for Commission counsel to approach those people, if need be, and for them, with a view to them becoming witnesses to this inquiry?
I'm not aware of that, sir.
Have you approached any of your members with a view to them becoming witnesses to explain their experiences to the inquiry?
I have had discussions with our members with respect to that matter, and the persons that I have spoken with have been very reluctant to do so, and I can probably explain why if you wish.
Well, before we go on to that, and I do want you to explain that
Sure.
to us, please, because I think it will be helpful. But do you have any members of your group who have indicated that they are willing to come to the Commission and tell the Commissioner their experiences, the history of their relationship with CLICO?
Yes, subsequent, I think, to the Commissioner's statement, where I think he was, concerned that witnesses weren't coming forward, not necessarily from the CLICO policyholders group, but from the 15,000 policyholders that exist at this point in time. A number of people have contacted us, and I have passed those names. I have asked them to call you. I have given them the number of the Commissioner, and I think they may have contacted you, if I'm not mistaken.
But you haven't provided those details to the Commission?
When you say provided the details?
Well, you haven't given them to us.
No, I've asked those policyholders to contact the Commission and provide the information that they are willing to provide. But I haven't done so. And I don't know that, as I said, that I have been asked to do that, so that I thought I was being helpful by, asking them to contact the commission directly.
Can I just ask you this?
Sure.
This commission was set up some 7 months ago. When the commission was set up, did your group develop any policy as to what relationship it should have with the commission?
No, we don't. We have not developed any formal policy with respect to what the relationship would be. Our understanding is that our relationship would be to, assist as far as possible. And one of the objectives, I must say, that we have as a group is that we hope to be able to get information with respect to a number of the issues in terms of the terms of reference of the commission, because we believe it will be helpful to our civil litigation. So we are here also to not only assist the commission, but we are hoping that the commission will be able to assist us. Because at the end of the day, I want to make it very clear that the mandate of the CLICO policyholders group has been and always and still is to ensure that the policyholders get back their money, their hard-earned money, in the shortest possible time frame. And as I said, as I previously indicated, the purpose of us coming together is to achieve that end, so that whatever is necessary in order for us to advance that cause, we are certain. That is why we were very happy to be a party to this commission. We responded, I think, almost immediately when we were invited to do so. And we have indicated that we've been here, as a matter of fact, throughout. The only time we have not been present, I'm talking about personally, my attorneys have been here, or our attorneys, I should say, have been here for the entire duration of the sittings of the commission so far. I have been absent on a few occasions, and that is solely because the matters being discussed were of a Hindu credit union nature, which it is very taxing, to be here on a daily basis when matters not related to the CLICO policyholders groups are being discussed.
If it was brought to your attention that the terms of reference of the commission are of a scope which certainly most people would consider covered the circumstances in which the policyholders of CLICO were caused or procured to take out policies, would you think that complete silence by the members of your group was of any particular assistance to the commission?
First of all, I want to say that we don't have any control over the members of our group.
I didn't ask you that.
Yes. No, but I just wanted to make that point. And I'm just going on to say that as far as...
I asked for your view as to whether complete silence by the members of your group would be perceived to be providing assistance to the commission, because you previously said a moment ago that one of the purposes of your group was to assist the commission.
Well, I suspect if you put it that way, yes, it may be perceived as not being of assistance, yes.
Would it be unfair to assume that nobody in your group has really addressed their minds to the way in which the group could assist the commission?
No, I wouldn't say that is fair to say at all. As a matter of fact, I think Mr. Carter is probably, that was one of the questions. I think he's probably going to ask me as to why. And if you're asking that question, I can probably explain that right now. Would you like me to do that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. You have to understand, and the policyholders have been witnessing what has been transpiring in this commission over the last how many days and weeks. And one can probably say that the fact that they have not come forward on their own probably has to do with what some may describe as the robust cross-examination of my erstwhile colleague, Mr. Schoon. And
that only started to take place 5 days ago, Mr.
Yes.
Permell, I don't find that an impressive answer.
Well, I'm just conveying the sentiments that were conveyed to me. I'm not saying that that is necessarily my view. I'm just saying, based on my discussions and interactions with the members of my group who would call me from time to time, that is the sentiment that they are expressing. Now, apart from that, that is not for them the real issue. I think the real issue for them, and this is the sentiments that they're expressing to me, is that this is a situation of betrayed confidences and broken promises. These policyholders would have suffered tremendously during the period September 2010 to now. Because prior to that, they were receiving their payments, they were receiving their income, their interest payments from CLICO. They were getting paid their policy principal sums in tranches. And they have suffered for the last 10 or so months tremendously. I mean, you would have heard some of the stories, and those stories are not dissimilar from the Hindu credit union people. And they feel a sense of betrayal. And let me tell you why they feel betrayed. They feel betrayed because they were taught, like myself, and I'm sure you were, sir, that you go to school, you learn your lesson, you pass your exams, you get a job, you work hard, you save your money, you invest it in an institution, not a fly-by-night institution, you invest it in a regulated institution like a bank or an insurance company, and at the end of the day, you make a return on that investment and you get back your money. What, as far as they're concerned, the system has failed them. They have no more confidence in the system. And it has serious implications, not only for the insurance industry,